Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up.
Well, look at that. Perfect timing. Welcome in. Happy Friday, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully you guys are having a great Friday. Is weekend. It is officially the weekend. Hopefully you guys have some great weekend plans. If you do, drop them in the chat. I'd love to know. I'm a nosy body. I like to know what everyone's doing, you know? So I'm just going to grab a couple things here. There we go. I forgot. I wanted to do something on the other channel today and I forgot to do it. I just realized that. So we'll do it next time. But welcome in, everybody. If you guys don't mind, before we get started, you know how it is. Hit the like button for your girl. And we all say it for a reason. It helps us get into that algorithm and it helps more people come in, enjoy the chat. And then you'll see more people chatting, even if you're not chatting yourself, you know, like I'm always like reading chat when I'm like in a live, you know, even if I'm not chatting, I'll just be like reading it. So maybe you're like me, but if you are, my name's Tanya or Titanium Built. Welcome. We're new besties. So just so you know, we're new besties now. But like I said, my name is Tanya or Titanium Built. If this is your first time on the channel, thank you guys for joining me. We do talk true crime here nightly. So if that's your thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, all the things, you know, all the things we ask you to do. And it's all free. That's the best part. That's the best part. That's the best part about YouTube, you know? Hola, baby girl. Welcome in. Let's see who we have in here. We've got Catherine's in here. We'll catch the replay at my son's first home football game. Oh, look at that. Go Chiefs. Also, you'll never hear me say that again, but go Chiefs. Go number 22. Hey, Crime Kitty. Hey, Nash Native. How are you doing? Hey, Mary Beth. Aw, she's at a football game. That sounds like fun, actually. I haven't been to a football game in forever. Probably 20 years. Hey, Mandy. It hasn't been 20 years. It's probably been like 6 or 7, though. My nephew hasn't played in a long time. He's out of school now. Hey, Tom and Jennifer, painting the kitchen. Oh, that sounds like fun. I mean, it sounds like, oh, gotta paint the kitchen. But once it's done, it's gonna be pretty. I'm a little late. I'm here though. Hey, Marcella. I was actually here and then I got up. I had to use the restroom. Sorry. Hey, kitsy cats. Like I said, hello, baby girl. Hey, Dawn. How you doing? Welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you. Look at that. Hey, Titanium. How you doing? Hey, Play Nice. Really? That's fun. That is funny. Well, now you can say that you have. I'm going to put some lotion on my hands. These things are like, it was so close. My hands are like, when they're dry, they get like that, I don't know, like burning almost feeling. That's what it felt like. And I put lotion on. Okay. I can't scroll to see who's in chat because I've got the lotion on my hands. But hey, Jet Set. Oh, that feels so much better. Hey, Citizen Sleuth. Hey, Tom. Welcome in, everybody. Hola. We're going to always be saying that now. We have a Cheez It emoji and an hola emoji. And only certain people will know because of certain cases, But that's okay. We'll tell them whenever they come in. They'll be like, why do we have these emojis? But I did get you guys one new emoji. I'm going to work on them. I'm going to start working on those because I think I know how to do them. I think. They may not be as good as Vincent's, though. So I may start and then show him. And then if it looks bad, he'll just take it over. That's what he does. That's my plan. That's my plan. I got a new plan. Hey, Jenna. Welcome in. So it's good to see you guys. I try to talk to you guys, within the first few, at least 8 minutes. We got about another minute left. YouTube, they just want to make sure that we're behaving around here. That's all it is. And we are behaving, I think. Hey, Adriana. But we are going to be talking about Long Island serial killer tonight, Rex Heuermann. And we're going to start deep diving into his case. I'm going to put my glasses on. I feel like I need them. My Advil is in the other part of the house. So if my headache gets any worse, because I have like a tiny bit of a headache, I'll go grab the Advil. But for now, we'll put these on. Because I went to the eye doctor the other day. They said perfect vision, but over perfect. They want me to have bifocals on. I don't understand it. Mary Beth's back. Hello, Mary Beth. So I'm going to put up some pictures in case. Okay, so put in the chat. That's what I wanted to ask you guys. How familiar, and don't put your number in yet. How familiar are you with this case? So on a scale from like 1 to 5, 1 being like you don't know anything about this case, from put like 2 to 4 if you know like what you've seen on like the internet or TV, like if you've been following it pretty closely, and then put a 5 if you're like, I know the whole dang case, I know it all. We don't have to behave. No, Jenna, we don't. That's the best part. Play Nice is out of 3. Okay. It always helps me just to know where to start, I know Tom knows. 10. 3. Okay, 5. Oh, wow, you guys are okay. I'm loving this. There's Ladybug. I was wondering because you're usually here first thing. I thought maybe you fell asleep. I said I was thinking that maybe she fell asleep tonight. Hey, Loveful. Okay. See, wow, you guys know this case. You might even know it better than me. I was okay. So, y'all, I am ADHD. So when I come in here, to start my stuff for the evening, I have to come in here super early because if not, I won't get anything done. So I have to be in here at least 3 or 4 hours. I swear to you, I only got through like a quarter of the timeline. And I was like, had other pages open because what's this question? What's this question? Like he had bought the house from his mother back in like 94 or something. I forget the exact year. But I was like, well, why she moved to Virginia? Like, what's up with that? So I was like looking into that. Couldn't figure out anything on that, but we'll keep looking. I was like, I'm nosy. I go into this rabbit hole. Hey, Candace. I'm just like, and I can't get out. Hey, Laura, welcome in. And so I was just like, okay, well, we're going to start with my favorite picture of Rex Heuermann. It's the Brian Koberger special, kind of, the selfie. They like to take selfies of themselves. Can you imagine? He's in a public bathroom right there. You can tell. You can tell. Okay, you can tell. And he lives in New York City. So I can only imagine what's crawling in those bathrooms. And he decides to take a selfie with the flash on. You're not doing yourself any favors, Rex Heuermann. You're not doing yourself any favors. So if you don't know who Rex Heuermann is, and you're like, who is that? Hi, Diane. Welcome in, everybody that I haven't seen or haven't said hi to. Hey, Cat Ride. They are all awkward. They are. I should put a compilation together of all the killers that we've covered on the channel. He's a legend, but we could put him in the list. But Rex Heuermann is a Manhattan-based architect and Long Island resident. He is accused of being the Gilgo Beach serial killer, linked to series of murders of sex workers whose remains were discovered along Ocean Parkway starting in 2010. He was arrested. He wasn't arrested until July 2023. I remember when this case first happened and the stuff with Shannon Gilbert, and we did go over that in our last live over this case. We did like a whole live over Shannon Gilbert, but I remember them finding her or like looking for her. They went out there looking for her, and then they found someone else's body, and that was the first body. And then they just kept finding more and more. And I remember watching it on the news and them like being out there. And I think they were, for some reason, this was a long time ago. I feel like they were in all white. You know how like they like crime scene kind of stuff? I feel like that's what they were wearing. But you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what they were wearing out there. And it was insanity. They kept finding more and more people. And then the years don't go on and go on and go on. And cops weren't really doing too much, but he has been charged with 7 murders total, including a 7th count added in December 2024. And he has pled not guilty to all the charges while remaining in custody, jail, without bail. He's in the same jail that Diddy's in, and Luigi Mangione, I think. Isn't he in the same Manhattan? Yeah, Manhattan jail. They could be Sally's. As of this month, the case involves ongoing legal battle over the inadmissibility of advanced DNA evidence. Basically, the defense is challenging the reliability of the DNA and the hair, but it's going to be put in. Like I was reading about it earlier. So investigation continues with the potential ties to additional unsolved cases. They are tracking him anywhere he's ever been. He has family out in a lot of different states, and they are tracking cold cases, old cases, all the cases. I was reading about that earlier too. And that's another rabbit hole you can just go down. Like on the way to they're like from New York to Virginia. They're covering like unsolved homicides through there because, he has that link to Virginia from his mother. Now, I'm not sure why she moved to Virginia. If anyone knows that, let me know. I mean, I guess she probably just didn't want to be in that rundown house. I mean, it's pretty bad. Did I actually grab any pictures of the house? I didn't, and it's black. It's like blurry. I was like, oh man. I meant to grab a couple. I'll grab a couple real quick, just so you guys can see what we're, in case you don't know. Put his house in. His wife still seems to be, or ex-wife, seems to be by his side, I mean, it's not a day in my life. I mean, And did you guys watch the docuseries? I had it on Patreon. Crazy. She, in my opinion, his wife, I think she doesn't want it to be real because she doesn't want her whole life to have been like a lie or something if she doesn't know about it. Because the way that she talks, it's like she just really wants him to not be guilty. But even his daughter is like, maybe, She's like, I haven't seen all the evidence yet. I'm just showing you these pictures here of old Rex. But she said she hasn't seen all the evidence, but she said that she can't discount things. So yeah. So this is the house. They live in a really nice neighborhood. He is an architect, and this is his house. Look at what's holding up the damn ceiling right here, or the porch. 2x4s, or whatever these are. They're not 2x4s, but like. Then you've got this. This is after the police were there, but I think this place was a hoarder's night, a hoarder's dream, actually, from the beginning. And then, Asa, she's spooky. She's standing by her man. $1 million, I'd stand by my man too, I guess. Just kidding, I wouldn't. Just kidding, I would not. You think she knew? I kind of do too. Well, especially after someone came, I forget who it was. It was, I believe it was, I don't know if it was a girl or a guy. Someone came out and they said that one of the girls, one of the workers, that was there, that they were at the house, that they went to Rex Heuermann's house, and that Asa Ellerup was there, and that Asa Ellerup got mad and accused one of the girls of stealing her iron, like her clothes iron. Where is a sex worker going to put a freaking clothes iron to steal it? Like, you know what I mean? It's not like they have like a bunch of stuff. They normally keep minimum things with them, like just what they need, small bags, whatever, and no one's going to steal your iron. But we did hear that story. It was actually from Mr. Guy with the awesome suits, Mr. Ray, John Ray. I knew it. I just couldn't get it. Oh, the $1 million was for her Peacock docuseries that we watched on Patreon. Yeah, for that. She got money. I heard through the grapevine, so just take this with a grain of salt. I forget exactly where I heard it. Wasn't like on another channel or anything though. But I heard that when they offered, I think it was like TMZ or something, maybe. But when they offered Asa Ellerup the $1 million for her docuseries, they actually went to Brian Koberger's parents and they offered them the same. And I think they said, if not a little bit more. And the Kobergers turned it down and was like, no. Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess I look at this picture and that's probably what you think of, your husband. You think of him as this like sweet man that, helped raise your son, raised your daughter with him, living in the parents' house. I couldn't do it. I know what it's like. I know exactly how she feels. I'm sorry. It makes me kind of giddy. I'll tell you a story. They got this house from his mother and he didn't change a thing. He didn't change a thing about it. Women like to decorate. We all like to decorate. We do. So, I mean, and men too, but I feel like more women like to decorate than men. I'm sorry, I'm stereotyping us over here. I didn't mean to, but I love decorating. But that she wanted to decorate that house, like paint the walls, do something. Maybe she wanted to clean it up a little bit. Maybe she wasn't the hoarder. Maybe he was. Maybe he was keeping everything from his childhood. Maybe he was keeping every paper his mother, his father ever had. You never know. He did keep a lot of his dad's woodworking stuff. So I think that she wanted to decorate and he probably said, no, like, let's keep it like it is. And then she had to live in that, like that. That was her reality, that she couldn't even change anything in her own home. My aunt's living that nightmare. She did for a long time anyway. They finally changed it. She's like, I'm changing shit. So, let's go to this website. I didn't even know that it was, I don't believe I knew that this was on this website. I go to this website all the time for, timelines and different things for different cases. I'm actually, Vincent and I are talking about building our own website soon. That way I can put all my stuff on there for you guys to look at because I take a lot of notes and stuff, and I could just put it on the computer, and then like do like timelines and stuff for you guys too. So basically what this does is it goes through like Rex's life. It goes through like every single detail on everything. We'll go through a little bit of this and then we'll jump over to this documentary that Crime Nation did, on the CW. And I was watching it earlier and I think it's pretty good. And it's a little over an hour long. So I don't want to keep you guys here too late. Okay. So we'll go through like his childhood and stuff. And then once it gets to like more of the adulthood, we'll skip over to the documentary. That way you can get a little bit of his like, his childhood past. I did try to put in this website or this YouTube or this Facebook, like this Facebook here, this URL, and it didn't work. It said the page was unavailable. So somebody must have taken the page down, I'm assuming, after this person, put it on there. Which I was like really sad. Okay, so I guess he goes by Haberman. About Rex Heuermann, aka Rex A. Heuermann. I guess they just spelled his name wrong. Rex Haberman, Rex G. Heuermann. People probably just spell his name wrong. I've almost done that. I probably have done that. So he's age 59. Well, September 1st was his birthday. Well, hot damn, look at that. I hope your birthday was wonderful. I hope you got bread with your butter or your butter with your bread. Just kidding. His current address is not 105 First Avenue. It's the Manhattan jail. I forget what it's called. The DMC or something like that. Tom will probably know. Oh, I didn't realize that I wasn't all the way down at the end of chat, guys. Oh, what did I do? I don't know what I did. Make sure that you're not on top chat. Make sure you're on all chat. I don't know why it does that. Yeah, you did. I'm like, hey, Torchy. Right. Well, they took the doll out and she even asked that. Like, why did they need the doll? Remember when they took the creepy ass doll out of the house in the case? I don't do porcelain dolls. I don't. Stay away from me. My mom used to collect. No, she didn't collect them. She had two. She wanted to collect them until I broke one. Yeah. I picked it up. I was a little kid and I broke it. I broke his little head, but she could fix it. And then I had a bonnet on, so it was fine. She wasn't mad at me or anything. She's like, it's fine. But like, I felt really bad. I remember feeling bad, that I did that to her doll. But she didn't collect any more after that. I think she probably had maybe 2 or 3. But those things are creepy. I don't care who you are. Totally creepy. So Heuermann is married with 2 children. Previous marriage was in 1990. Heuermann was just 26 when he first married in New Brunswick, New Jersey. So he was 26 and he was married in New Brunswick, New Jersey. So not in New York. But in a 2022 interview with Bonjour Realty, that guy that with the sunglasses that posted to YouTube, Heuermann says he was born and raised on Long Island. I don't know. I guess he could have left for a little bit. Heuermann told Bonjour Realty last year that he has worked in Manhattan since 1987. Okay, well, that doesn't jive. If you're married in 90 and you're in New Brunswick, New Jersey, how are you working in Manhattan in 87? Unless you're driving a long, long way. That'd be a long time. So his childhood, he probably had a crappy childhood. I'm sure they all do. Hey, Triple L. Hey, Ashley. I know this case gives me the creeps too. Thank you guys all for being here. So the struggle started early. Heuermann grew up with an older sister and a younger brother. Wonder where they've been. I'm wondering where any of his family has been during his court proceedings, because we haven't seen anybody show up except for Asa Ellerup, and we would know about it. We would hear about it. We would definitely know. But it says his father was an aerospace engineer. So he had a good job. He's very smart, who enjoyed specialty woodworking as a hobby. It must be T. Heuermann, was making furniture in his garage. And he, Rex Heuermann did the same thing. Like he would go out in the garage and he said that he was doing woodworking. Well, this sent me to like an IT thing. I don't know what that interview is. It wasn't an interview. Dan Musto, who knew Rex growing up, said Rex Heuermann clashed with his father, who was tough on Rex for not being a go-getter. In response, Rex acted out. He got caught after engaging in a shoplifting spree. What'd you steal, Rex? Guns? Mr. Musto said, why is he getting in trouble? He's fighting with his dad. It was common knowledge. In 1975, his father died when Rex Heuermann was 12. After that, the children were raised by their mother, who is now 93 and living in Virginia. 93. Damn, that's old. Wizard Walt, where you been? Listen to me. Hey, Wizard Walt. Yeah, he did. Hey, Maga Mama. Oh, I didn't see what happened. Oh, I'm so sorry, Walt. Well, prayers for you. And it's good to see ya. So, wow, they were raised by their mom from age 12 on. And he had a sister and a younger brother. Okay, according to a neighbor, Mr. D. Villers, Rex Heuermann seemed to be raising his children to be as isolated as he had been in the same rundown off-limits house. He said that when Mr. Heuermann, I don't know why they're calling him that, when Rex Heuermann's daughter, Victoria, now 26, got her license, I wanted to tell her, just get in your car and drive and never come back. I mean, he probably should have. Rex lived in the same house he was raised in, a few miles across the bay from the beach where the bodies were found. Spooky. He purchased his childhood home from his mother, Dolores. I love that name. For $170,000 in 1994. Wonder if he got a deal for. I wonder if that was a deal back then. My parents bought their house in 95, brand new, under $100,000 on an acre lot, corner lot. I mean, they did pretty good. But I mean, this is right near Manhattan, this is Long Island. So early life, 1963, born to Theodore and Dolores. 1977, he enters high school. 1977 to 1981, he works at Tobay Beach during the summers. Lifeguards and staff reported he was frequently present. 1981, graduates from Burner High School. So that's the same one. Okay. Class of 1981. 1981 through 82, seasonal employee at Jones Beach State Park. And I believe I have an article where they're looking at that state park actually right now because of his former job. So we'll have to go over that. Graduates, I already said that. So again, works as a seasonal employee at Jones Beach. So 1981 to 1982, and then again in 1984, he goes back. Education, he graduates from New York Institute of Technology with a degree in agriculture design or technology. 1987, he works for Harvey Rothenberg, architect in Brooklyn. 1990, he works for Greer Construction Corps in Freeport, New York. So then in 1990, he marries his wife. Wait, what the? Am I right? How did he do that? Am I reading this right? Did he, hold on. 1990, he marries his first wife. 1994, divorces his first wife. I thought I read that backwards. I was like, how did he get married again? Okay, never mind. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Sorry for the panic. I was like, what? Okay, so I'm sorry. So we're going to be under personal life and business because we all been that. Yeah, you're sleeping funny, honey. She's like scratching her nail on the floor because she's having a weird dream. So, he marries his first wife in 1990. In 94, he divorces his first wife. I don't know if he divorces her, she divorces him. I'm not sure. But in the same year, he meets Asa. And I am not going to try how you spell. Maybe Google will tell me how to spell it or say this or whatever this is.
Gobjarg.
Gobjarg. Asa Gobjarg Ellerup. An Islamic immigrant. Icelandic. Okay, so then 94, he buys the home. In 94, he incorporates RH Consultants and Associates, his agricultural firm. Dang, he was busy the year of 94. He meets Asa, buys his mama's home. He gets a new corporation going for, his firm. Wow. And then in 96, he marries Asa. Daughter Victoria is born the same year. So, maybe that's why they got married, because, they had the baby coming. Financial and property activity. So just some things that he bought. Travels to Iceland with Asa and family. Returns on August 18th. This was 2009. Wonder how the family felt about him, right? I wonder if he impressed them or, Okay. I wanted to come down here. Okay. Later career in travel. 2017, he oversees renovation projects in the Bronx. 2017, he travels to Las Vegas for 2 days by plane. Pretty sure that's probably why they went out there and was looking. January, he vacationed in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Well, he just had a decent life going, didn't he? Just vacationing, going places. Why did his son not go? It says 2008, vacation in Cocoa Beach with wife Asa, daughter Victoria, and mother Dolores. Well, where's the stepson? And then 2018, trip to Virginia. 2018, again, involved in false documentation about a vacant apartment complex. These are some personal injury lawsuits that he had. So maybe we'll stop there and we'll go through those here after we watch this, because this is kind of long. So I want to make sure we get through it. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it so much. And I'll get back to reading some more stuff about Rex Heuermann too. We're going to go through everything. We've already went through the arrest affidavit, stuff like that, but we're just going to go through those things as we go through the timeline. We're just going to go through those things again. That way we know the case very well. And that's my goal, is for everyone to kind of know the case. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody for coming in. I appreciate you guys coming in. And yeah, if you guys don't mind, take a second, hit the like button, share the video. If you guys you appreciate the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That really helps a lot. And I will be pausing this for commentary and everything.
Maureen Brainerd Barnes was 25 years old when she vanished. On July 9th, 2007, she was from Norwich, Connecticut, a mother, and by all accounts, somebody who loved to talk with people, wanted everybody to like her, and was a hustler. She had worked as a card dealer. She was a telemarketer. She worked as a cashier, trying to piece it all together, but it just wasn't enough to provide for her family. And that's when she turned to sex work. Maureen would put herself out on Craigslist. She would just put out an ad, put out her number, and if somebody was interested, they would call her or message her, and she would just start the transaction there.
Sex work changed dramatically in the 1990s because of the advent of the internet. It was free and easily available. Before that, women had to literally work the stroll, meaning they had to work the streets and pick up Johns who would pull up in their cars. They would get into the car. It was highly, highly dangerous work. But by advertising on Craigslist or back pages, you get to pick and choose who you decide to meet with. There's a little bit more control for the woman who's engaging in sex work. But that sense of control is really a mirage. Once they are in that car or in that house, he still has all the control.
Maureen would often go down to Manhattan from Connecticut because she could make more money there and she could make it faster. July 6, 2007, Maureen's cell phone is contacted by a burner cell phone. And over the next few days, there are 16 interactions between these two phones. Maureen was working out of a hotel in Midtown Manhattan. She called a friend to let them know that she was going on an out call to meet a client. She was never seen again. Maureen's family and friends are gripped with fear. They have no idea what happened to her. Then Maureen's friend got a call from an unfamiliar number. On the other end of the line, a man tells her friend that he has seen Maureen and that he saw her at a whorehouse in Queens. At first, she's excited. Oh, you've seen my friend. Where's this address? We've been looking for her. I want to go find her. And he says, well, I'll call you back and I'll give you the address. She waits, and he never calls back. What becomes a pattern is that one of these victims leaves, they walk out the door, they're never seen again, but their cell phone records and data tell us something different. Two years later, it's the week after the 4th of July, and another woman is about to go missing. Melissa Bartholomew was from Buffalo, New York, and she had dreams of becoming a hairdresser in New York City. It was something she really wanted to do. Her friend said it was her passion, but when she went to Manhattan, she fell into sex work. When she first started out, she would do what was called the stroll in Times Square, going up and down the street, outside of strip clubs. But she always had the watchful eye of a man who she worked with, who would be across the street, who would look out for her and kind of had her back. Then there's this trade-off that happens. She says, I want to do this on my own, and I'm going to put ads on Craigslist. So she could make the deal, do everything herself, keep the money. However, she's giving up the protection of the guy that was watching her back. On July 3rd, 2009, Melissa was contacted by somebody with a burner phone. The person wants to pay her $1,000. That's a lot of money.
Right there. Like, that would have been like a what? I'm not saying that these women weren't getting paid, but I don't think that they were getting paid anywhere near $1,000. That's, you know what I mean? Like, she's gorgeous. She shouldn't, I wish she wouldn't have even had to do that. But like, I just feel that's a lot of money. And I think that's what it is. Like, maybe it's not that much. Maybe it's just over a little bit to where it like entices them just enough to go. But because I don't know how much you get paid for that, but I would think that it wouldn't be $1,000 a night. Right. So I would think like they're probably thinking, wow, I really need this money. I mean, especially for Peaches to take her daughter with her. I think that she just couldn't find a sitter or something. And she was like, this is going to take long. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we could just maybe like go around. I don't know. I don't know what she was thinking, but I think that's why she took her daughter with her.
And after that, Melissa disappeared.
Didn't she have the roommate though?
A week after
There was
Melissa
one that had a
vanishes, a man started
her.
using her phone to call her little sister, Amanda, and made some really disturbing comments.
He went into great detail about all of the horrible things he allegedly did to her.
Your sister is missing, your phone rings, and her caller ID comes up, and you're hoping that maybe it's her.
You think it's her.
And instead, on the other end of the line is a man saying that not only has he sexually assaulted your sister, he also reveals that he killed her too. And the man called Melissa's sister over and over again. The NYPD was able to
I think it was from downtown Manhattan where he was making the calls too. Like, I mean, that is just beyond sick. You pick this girl up, you essay her, you kill her, you know, then you take the same phone, the burner phone that you had, or not the burner phone you had actually, because you were using her phone. You take her phone and you're calling her sister, and her sister is automatically going to assume, oh my gosh, she's okay. Like, you know, you're going to get that like hopeful feeling, you know, you're just going to get that. And then you pick up the phone and it's Rex Heuermann talking about what he did to your sister and how she's dead. I couldn't
Trace those
deal with that.
calls through a cell tower
These people are
to
so
Midtown Manhattan.
strong.
But the calls never lasted long enough to pinpoint an exact location. And then after that, the phone calls completely stopped.
This is somebody who really does have a sadistic quality. He likes the idea, not only of reliving it by talking to family members who are going to be the most devastated, but taunting them about that. Domination and control is really the motive. It's the payoff. When you're looking at somebody who is a sadistic sexual serial killer, sadly, they view their victims where it's like, this person, they aren't on the same level as the people that I care about. They're different. Whatever the rationalization is, this person isn't worth quite as much. But we know that there are always family members who care about these victims. There are always family members looking for their loved one.
Greg Waterman, Megan Waterman's older brother. Growing up, she was a big pain in my ass, but all we had was each other. We walked to school together, we walked home together, go roller skating every Saturday afternoon. At the end of the day, when she needed me or I needed her, like, we were there.
Megan Waterman had a pretty difficult childhood and became a mom herself at the age of 18. She wasn't prepared for this, and in order to provide for her child and provide maybe a better life, that's when she turned to sex work and trying to make ends meet.
She used to call herself a call girl, which I used to call her an idiot. But she did it for her daughter, and when I think about it nowadays, I understand it, I get it. My sister said, when I have a child, I'm gonna give that child everything I couldn't have, no matter what I had to do to get it. She cared too much, you know what I mean? Like, she's got a good soul. She was living in Maine, but she'd go down to New York a couple weekends a month. She was only down there from like probably Thursday to Monday, gonna drive up and be back home for like a week and a half, then she'd go down the next weekend.
In early June of 2010, Megan Waterman gets on a bus and heads down to New York City. And then she relocates to a hotel in Hauppauge on Long Island. It's about 50 miles east of New York City. On June 5th, 2010, Megan Waterman's cell phone is contacted by a burner cell phone that had been activated just that day. And that communication is right around the same time that we see her leaving on surveillance video from that hotel in Hauppauge. After she left the hotel, she was never seen again.
I'd always like call and check in. When she didn't answer, I had a very, very bad gut feeling that something was wrong. It was multiple days of no contact. She never went a day without talking to her daughter many, many times. I went down in New York, went to the hotel in Hauppauge that she was at, passed out like 4,000 flyers, put them everywhere.
4,000?
I didn't know what happened to Megan, but I knew something went right.
I would hope that I have a brother that would do that, definitely, most definitely. But I would hope everybody would have a brother like that, right? Like, you know what I mean? 4,000 flyers.
New York wouldn't tell us nothing. I've never seen like any law enforcement or anything that's just so disrespectful or someone that's missing because of
Beautiful.
what she did. She got put to the bottom. She was somebody's daughter, somebody's granddaughter, someone's niece, someone's aunt, someone's cousin, someone's, friend, best friend, doesn't matter. Like, she was a human being.
Back then, there was a sense that these women were isolated victims. No one had any idea that there was a serial killer
They
at work.
didn't put these
And
together.
it would only be a matter of months before he struck again.
The downfall of every power control killer. It's their ego. Their ego gets too big. They think that they are smarter than everybody else. And that makes them careless. They think they've gotten away with it, and that's when they slip up.
And that's exactly what happened when Amber Costello disappeared.
She was a loving, sweet, beautiful girl, the biggest heart. I think about her all the time.
Beautiful eyes.
I mean, she's just a loving human being, and I miss her terribly.
Amber was originally from North Carolina and had a very difficult childhood. She struggled with addiction on and off throughout most of her life and fell into sex work when she was very young.
Amber Costello was known for sort of pulling this ruse with a friend of hers where the friend would pretend to be her significant other and sort of barge in on her while she was with a John so that, she could keep the money and not have to perform the services.
September 1st, 2010, Amberlynn Costello is contacted by somebody using a burner phone. And it was that very night that a client came to her home in West Babylon.
This client was described as being very, very big. One other thing that the roommate remembered, the man was driving a dark green vehicle that was a first-generation Chevy Avalanche, a very unique kind of vehicle. It's sort of a cross between a pickup and a car. He had given the money to Amber Costello for sexual services. When the client got there, this roommate pretended to be an outraged boyfriend, and then the client sheepishly ran out of the house.
So the next day, September 2nd, this client contacts Amber and says, I want to see you again, but I don't want to do it at the house because of the boyfriend. On the night of September 2nd, a witness sees Amber Costello leaving her home, going out to the street to meet someone, and then sees a dark-colored truck go by, coming from the direction that Amber had just gone to. And she was never seen or heard from again. 4 women just vanished, basically under the radar.
I want to know where he was killing these women.
And we probably wouldn't have found out what happened to them had it not been for a 24-year-old woman named Shannon Gilbert.
Absolutely. Look at those homes.
Oak Beach
Beautiful.
is a small little private hamlet on the southern part of Long Island. It's a closed-end community, and it's right on the water. Unless you've been down there to the ocean going swimming or surfing, or you were a fisherman, you really didn't know this place existed. The Shannon Gilbert case is interesting. I believe she's the only working girl that came with her own security.
Mm-hmm.
May 1st, 2010.
Like, that's pretty smart, you know?
Shannon Gilbert has a driver, and he takes her out to Oak Beach to this client's house.
And then something goes terribly wrong at the John's house.
Shannon Gilbert makes a 911 call.
Hello, you dialed into the 911 system. How can I assist you? There's somebody after me. Where are you? There's somebody after me. Where are you, ma'am? I don't know. Can you check where I am? No, I can't. What's your name? Shannon Gilbert.
She then says to the 911 operator, and she makes the rational choice, which is to run. When she does, you hear these blood-curdling screams.
Her driver did not stay around after Shannon Gilbert ran off. Perhaps he thought that she went to a house. Perhaps he thought she made her way to Ocean Parkway, but he left.
We know that she flees the house, but by the time the police finally do arrive, Shannon's nowhere to be found.
At some point, the police got involved, but it didn't seem like there was a great will initially to find her.
Her mother, Mary Gilbert, and Shannon's boyfriend went to the Suffolk County Police to file a missing persons for Shannon. And the police officers there brushed them off. Oh, she's a hooker. She's a prostitute. She'll turn up.
Shannon Gilbert's mother, Mary, was not letting the police forget her daughter.
She was
wanted to
absolutely
make
not.
sure there was some kind of search going on. She got out there with other members of the family in front of the media.
Gilbert's mother says police never took her daughter's disappearance seriously.
If we weren't always on the phone, they may not have ever searched at all.
Many people believe that you are a victim because it's something you did, right? Victim blaming. And if you're in sex work, you know, it's kind of like, well, what'd you expect kind of thing. And unfortunately, that was pretty pervasive.
Eventually, law enforcement did canine searches for Shannon Gilbert in the Oak Beach area. Turned up nothing. 7 months later, there's finally a development. In December 2010, I was mostly working day shifts at Pix 11 News. So I would watch the 10 o'clock news at night before I'd go to bed. And this one night, December 11th of 2010, I noticed that there was a really big story leading the newscast. And it was out in Gilgo Beach, which is very close to Oak Beach on the south shore of Long Island. Gilgo Beach is a barrier beach. One side faces the Atlantic Ocean, the other side, the Great South Bay. And Ocean Parkway cuts right through. It's a state park that a lot of people don't know about except the locals.
Gilgo Beach just had this reputation of being the loveliest beach on Long Island.
Thanks for ruining it for him.
Now, when I hear Gilgo Beach, I think murder.
Yeah, murder.
In December 2010, a canine officer from the Suffolk County Police Department was with his dog on Ocean Parkway, and the dog reacted to something in the brush.
At some point, the dog gave me an indication. His tail started waving. He started sampling the air, indicating to a spot off the shoulder of the parkway.
And this was a dog that was in training. That dog was good.
The dog alerts, and he goes into a very thick wooded area, very determined to dig for what it has discovered.
Look how close to the road that is.
That it is a body wrapped.
I didn't realize she was that close to the road. I don't know why. Wait, this is so weird. I didn't know any of them were that close. That's close.
The police officer sees that it is a body wrapped in burlap.
Of course, not Shannon, but
In December of 2010, while looking for a missing woman named Shannon Gilbert, a canine officer found remains along Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach.
They found skeletal remains of a very petite young woman. The immediate assumption was this must be Shannon Gilbert, but there's nothing to identify this woman.
No clothing, no purse, no wallet, no identifying jewelry.
But it was just the beginning. Police decide they're going to keep searching. Then lo and behold, on December 13th, they find 3 more bodies.
All 4 victims were bound, 3 of them with tape and camouflage burlap, and the 4th was bound by 3 belts. All likely died of homicidal strangulation.
All 4 of these bodies belong to young women, and their bodies are largely intact. There's skeletal remains, but they're mostly mummified.
So just think about that. Like, he strangled them to death with, I mean, wonder if he used his hands. I'm assuming he probably did. He's huge. He's like 6'6". Like, the guy's huge. These girls are small. I'm sorry if I don't know the money. I would be like, there's something funky going on here. And I know that those girls were smart like that. You know, like, had that street smarts about them. He must have just been so unassuming, you know? Just very unassuming.
4 bodies, 3 days, and countless questions. When these 4 women were found in 2010, Richard Dormer was the police commissioner in Suffolk County, and he was about to retire. And now he's got this huge case on his hands.
Monday morning, homicide responded back to the location where the body was found and located 3 more bodies. They weren't all clustered, but they were within a quarter of a mile of each other, which would indicate that they were dumped there by the same person or persons.
Okay, maybe he's better with directions than I am. Probably so. But if I was going down Gilgo, like the highway or whatever, right there, Gilgo Beach, the road, and I was going to go throw a body into, you know, the brush, I would probably forget where I put the first body. I'd probably have to go out there and look. So I wonder if he did. I wonder if he parked like, okay, I think that this is where the first person or second person is. And then he, you know, decided to get out of his car. Maybe he went back and visited the first, you know what I mean? Like the previous body, and then placed that other body, like, you know, a little further out. I don't know how he did it, but he wrapped him in burlap. Hairs galore were found.
Many people believed.
And how do you just go off the side of the highway and throw a body out there and nobody sees anything?
That the killer was somebody who knew
Guess
this
it's
area
quiet at
well.
night.
There's not going to be a lot of people going into these areas looking for anything.
Well, no.
It's thick and it's thorny. You wouldn't even consider walking in there as a layperson. But if you live and know this area well, you would know that this is a perfect hiding spot.
The New York City Medical Examiner is helping local authorities identify the remains through DNA and dental records.
So they go into this database for missing persons, and it turns out they find dozens of potential matches.
Was missing Megan Waterman the victim of a serial killer on Long Island? The vanished woman from Maine is reported to have traveled to Long Island in response to an ad on Craigslist and might be among the bodies found on Gilgo Beach.
First week of December, they come up, swallowed me, my mom, and Liliana. They said that they found skeletal remains down in Long Island. They just wanted to get a DNA to match up to this.
Today, police confirmed through DNA that one of the bodies is that of Megan Waterman.
I don't think anybody could really feel the way I felt about it because, like, I lost a big part of me. Like, the only thing I have 22 years that I could depend on or speak to, so.
That's real sad.
Megan Waterman was the first victim to be identified in January of 2011. And then a couple of days later, the police released the identities of the other 3 women.
We are here today to announce that all 4 women whose remains were discovered in Gilgo Beach last month have been positively identified. Maureen Brainard Barnes of Norwich, Connecticut. Melissa Barthelemy of the Bronx. Amber Lynn Costello of North Babylon, New York. and previously announced Megan Waterman of Scarborough, Maine.
We believe that each of the 4 victims met their prearranged client shortly before their deaths.
Once the identities of the Gilgo 4 came out, the victims' families gave interviews.
Beautiful
You have
eyes.
so many questions. Why? How? You know, did my sister cry? Did she beg? You know, did she say, please, please? Like,
I'm pretty sure this is the sister that was being called, isn't it?
I have kids. She was just very kind-hearted, you know. She made mistakes, who doesn't? She didn't deserve this. Nobody deserves this.
I would just like to just set the record straight that she wasn't a mean person, and she wasn't a bad person.
It's sad, and I just wanted to get a chance to see where my sister was.
Oh, that's sad.
The 4 victims that were found initially during the search for Shannon Gilbert became known as the Gilgo 4.
All 4 of these women who had disappeared over the last several years were advertising on Craigslist. They were sex workers.
As a cold case investigator, if I was looking at this case, I would say that these 4 were all killed by the same person. And why?
Burlap. Location.
Left in the same condition, same general area within 500 feet of each other.
Look at that.
You would say this was their garden of trophies that they put in there, so to speak.
He was definitely going back and looking at the other bodies. I have no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind.
After the bodies were found,
How did he get in there, though, man? That is some brush.
all sent to a forensic laboratory.
Probably wore a suit.
You have to remember that they had been out in the elements, so there wasn't a lot of evidence that could be obtained. But there was a male hair that was found in the burlap that was wrapped around Megan Waterman. The DNA didn't match with any known database, so there wasn't anything that could be done at that time.
No genealogy yet, I guess. Yeah, there wasn't because I graduated in 2011.
Then in early April of 2011, there's something of a surprise find. Very close to the Gilgo 4, police discover remains of an Asian male. And he was wearing women's clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So he was perhaps transgender.
The assumption is that this was also a sex worker.
The Asian male found in women's clothing. It adds a whole other layer to this stuff.
His skull had been crushed, blunt force trauma. So now you have 5 adult bodies.
He was
the
mad.
Gilgo 4 and the Asian male.
He killed him in a different way. And I think that he was strong enough to overpower the Asian male, you know? I do think that. So I don't know why he would like crush his skull, right? Other than he was maybe he thought he was a woman. And then he figured out he wasn't a woman.
But this is not the last body they find.
The police decide to keep searching. They find even more victims. But there's something different this time.
These are not intact bodies, but body parts in the thicket just east of Gilgo.
Yeah, Tom, I think so too.
What they find first is a skull, forearms, and hands. And a skull, hands, and foot. About a week later, police find arms and legs in a plastic bag on Jones Beach. And then they also discover a skull in nearby Tobay Beach.
These are bodies that have been dismembered in the same way. And they're all young women.
Something really disturbing is going on here.
Yeah.
All these victims are being dumped on a stretch of Ocean Parkway in this very remote area of southern Long Island. 5 of the victims are intact, But then some of the victims were dismembered. And we're trying to find out, is this one killer? Are there two killers? If there are two killers, are they using the same dumping ground? What is going on here?
All these partial remains are a huge discovery because it looks like they've been there longer, maybe a lot longer. It makes you wonder, how long has this been going on? In 1997, 13 years before any of the remains turned up on Ocean Parkway,
we're going to take a little trip.
A victim was found on another part of Long Island.
Hempstead Lake State Park is a real family-oriented area. People go there for barbecues, for picnics, for hiking, for biking. So it's not the kind of place where you would expect to find a dead body. A man and his daughter are walking by a pond and they see a green Rubbermaid container. And they see that there's a body inside.
I am Detective Bill Brosnan. I worked for the Nassau County Police Department Homicide Squad for a little over 21 years. When we first pulled up, my partner and I, we could see the container. We walked down right to it. The body was wrapped in plastic. Somebody just dumped it there thinking that no one will ever find it in this grass-covered area.
Look at...
When we got to the morgue, they
Nobody will find
that
it.
package apart. There was a flowered print pillowcase. There was a maroon towel. We took the body out of the container, and we realized that it was just a torso.
I would go to Heuermann's and I would try to match up that towel or that pillow. That pillowcase, I bet they hoard everything. I bet you they have the sheet set. I bet you we're going to hear something like that. And they're going to say, this is the pillowcase that goes with the sheet set. They didn't have the pillowcase. They only had one pillowcase instead of two or something. I don't know. But that's creepy. No burlap. I mean,
in 1997, 13 years before any remains were found along Ocean Parkway, a human torso was found at Hempstead Lake State Park. It would end up being tied to the victims of Gilgo Beach in the most tragic way possible.
The medical examiner determined that she was a female, African-American, between the ages of 18 and 30 years old.
You have a victim where you can't fingerprint them, you can't do a identification based on the face. So we had somebody that was trying to hide the identity.
But whoever did this made a mistake.
The victim had a heart-shaped peaches tattoo above her left breast.
This tattoo was really unique, and it gave detectives a real shot at finding out who this person was.
The tattoo in this case was the whole thing. The Daily News is a big New York City newspaper. I reached out to them and asked them, would they throw the picture in their paper? Newsday, they also did an article on it. I actually went to the morgues in the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, Manhattan, just to see if they had unclaimed body parts. We did the same thing with Suffolk County. They had nothing. I gave her a name. It's Peaches. I never liked Jane Doe or John Doe. That's not a name.
Yeah.
She has a name, and she should have a family.
It's sad.
Over the years, this case
Gets even sadder.
was always with me. I found out that Peaches had a child within the last year or two because she had a C-section. There was a child missing her mom. All those years, that child must have grown up and said, where's mom? Whose mom?
After the bodies are found along Ocean Parkway, all of them are sent
Yeah,
to a
with his
forensic
daughter, working
laboratory
with his
to be
daughter.
tested for DNA. Investigators find out that the legs found on Jones Beach are Peach's legs.
Isn't that's something else.
In 2011, while investigators were sweeping essentially Ocean Parkway looking for more victims, that is when they found the unimaginable. The remains of a toddler.
Peaches' baby.
The toddler was a female, anywhere from 18 to 24 months or so, wrapped in a blanket with jewelry on her.
I was notified by New York State Police that the child was Peaches' baby.
I'm sure there are a lot of churches in the great state of New York, all right, or in New York City, New York, you know, that area, Gilgo Beach area, all that area. Why couldn't he have put that baby in a car seat or a little basket or something? You know how they used to do back in the day. I don't know, because they probably didn't have those little boxes then, and take it to like a church and just sit it on these steps. At this time, they wouldn't have had cameras as much as they have cameras now. Probably wouldn't have been seen, and you wouldn't have had to kill a baby. I mean, it's bad enough you're killing women, right? But when you literally don't care who you're killing. You're killing women, you're killing men, you're killing babies.
Who would do something as terrible as this, to leave an infant out in the middle of nowhere just to die?
It's strange that Peach's body parts were found in Jones Beach and that they were associated with the Gilgo case, and that baby was in Gilgo and found next to another victim. Do I believe that there's more than one killer there? Do serial killers get together and say, hey, here's a good place to dump somebody? I don't think that happened. My opinion is that they could be all related.
Could this really be the work of the same person? The answer is yes. Serial killers learn from...
I think that he was dismembering them in the beginning to try to keep them from being identified if they were found. And then he realized, well, they're not being found. Like, nobody's finding these bodies. I'm chopping them up. I'm doing all this work. I'm taking, legs over here, torsos over here. I think that he perfected his like craft in a way, because he had that paper, his little manifesto, like what to do, what not to do, things that have went wrong in the past, don't do that, things that he needs to bring with him. He was very detailed.
From their mistakes and evolve over time. We see this all the time.
So now there's this unbelievably disturbing timeline that's being revealed. One killer who's possibly been murdering even the most innocent of victims, and he's perhaps been doing it for decades.
The investigation began as a search for a missing New Jersey prostitute. Shannon Gilbert was last seen a year ago after meeting up with a client that she had met on Craigslist. So far, no trace of Gilbert has been found.
So basically, the woman that they're out there, that they started this whole thing to, the whole reason why they're out there was to find this, woman, Shannon Gilbert, and they still haven't found her, but they found what, six bodies and a child. So 7 bodies now.
When the Gilgo 4 were found in December 2010, the automatic assumption was one of those women will be Shannon Gilbert. And it was never Shannon Gilbert. The families knew the media can be a partner to them, because the media can get the word out there, can spread the information far and wide, especially with the advent of the internet.
I promise that I will continue to fight nonstop until I bring my girl home where she belongs.
I'm here because I really want to support this family, because a lot of people don't care about escorts. They don't care. They're just like, they just don't care.
There were statements made that most of the victims being targeted were sex workers, and the families rightly said, why should that make a difference? They have a right for justice.
After Shannon goes missing, and the first 4 victims that we know now is the Gilgo 4, when their bodies were discovered and their family members were notified, social media became a way for them to become connected. So Facebook became a spot where you had people who were actually organizing searches themselves, trying to spread more information and set up vigils and things like that.
Right now, people out there who are watching, who are listening, who knows about Shannon, I just want to ask you, what if? What if it was someone that you loved? What if it was someone that you cared about?
There was so much media attention because the family did a lot of the legwork with social media. That was something that never really happened in a case before this.
A year and a half after Shannon Gilbert goes missing, there's finally a development.
After an exhaustive, methodical, massive search, we have this day at approximately 9:14 a.m. located a set of skeletal remains
Deep into the marsh of Oak Beach, the remains of Shannon Gilbert are finally found.
Wow, look how far away.
We don't quite know what happened. How did she get into that marsh? But the police were saying it was a tragic accident, that she had drowned. It sort of felt like it was the end of just one facet of the investigation, but really, a lot of us in the media felt like we were no closer to finding out who the killer was.
Wasn't her hyoid bone broke? I don't know. Maybe not. We'll find out, hopefully. They'll say something.
You have all these remains that are found along Ocean Parkway, and there were no answers.
I thought there was something
obviously
that
a major investigation.
made it
There are
think
no
it was like a
suspects at this
strangulation.
But could you speak to leads? Do you have leads and how strong they
No,
are?
I'd rather not get into that right now.
There was a lot of fear among residents, people just wondering what was going on in Long Island. But we didn't really have any insight on what was going on in the investigation.
So, well, sometimes we don't have all the information, and that's why we can't give it to you.
You just got the feeling the authorities had no idea what they were doing and were making very little progress.
But what's really remarkable about this case is early on, Suffolk County Police had information and evidence that could have solved this case.
Mm-hmm.
In 2010, shortly
I
after
knew
the
that about the
disappearance
clothes, yeah.
of Amber Costello, police had interviewed witnesses, and the witnesses described the John that night leaving a car that they described as a first-generation dark-colored Chevy Avalanche. There is also witness descriptions of the man describing him as an ogre-like tall figure with bushy hair and glasses.
Now, if you were a cop and you got that tip, wouldn't you look that up? First generation avalanches that are green. How many are there in the city and in the surrounding areas? How many of them are, somebody with that's like an ogre type? Start looking at license pictures. I think you'd probably get them pretty quick.
So the police, from what I could gather, as early as 2010, had a description of the serial killer suspect and his vehicle.
And what's also interesting is that investigators, when they started looking at the cell phone records of the Gilgo 4 victims, they realized that there was a pattern here. These victims were contacted by different burner phones for each victim.
In 2011, an FBI analyst was given access to that cell phone data. The analyst was able to sort of produce a report using data from cell towers.
Megan Waterman was last seen leaving the Holiday Inn Express in Hauppauge, Long Island at about 1:30 in the morning.
Pings of these cell phone towers show that Megan Waterman's phone traveled from Hauppauge to Massapequa Park. Massapequa Park is a bedroom community on the southern shore of Long Island, not far from Ocean Parkway, where all the remains were found. Melissa Bartholomew, on July 10th, 2009, her cell phone travels from Midtown Manhattan also to Massapequa Park. The burner phone that contacted Melissa travels from
Let me guess.
Massapequa Park to Midtown Manhattan.
Cell phone data was a really
So you look for downtown or Midtown Manhattan and Massapequa Park.
big piece of evidence that the suspect likely lived in Massapequa Park and commuted to Midtown Manhattan.
Investigators had most everything they needed to name a suspect in this case back in 2011. But they didn't put it all together.
What we now know about the case is that you had just rampant corruption and ineptitude and infighting and dysfunction sort of plaguing the top ranks of the law enforcement in Suffolk County.
In late 2011, we find out there's going to be a major shakeup in the Suffolk County Police Department, and there will be a new chief of department, and his name is James Burke.
As it turns out, that was really bad news for the Long Island serial killer case. James Burke was appointed chief of department of the Suffolk County Police Department in 2012. That position of chief of department is typically reserved for career police officers who have been in a lot of different units within the police department and have these kind of powerful resumes. And that just wasn't James Burke.
There's no way this guy was qualified. He had a high school education, but he could walk into a room and grab the room. He did have that. He had some sort of charisma like that.
Burke was a juvenile delinquent who somehow became a cop, and throughout his career as a cop was sort of chased by scandal.
Yeah, you could say
We
that.
find out that over the years that he had relationships with sex workers. He actually partied with them in his police car, that his gun was not secured. A lot of things happened involving sex workers and James Burke.
You had a guy in charge of the department who patronized prostitutes. Now he's investigating the death of prostitutes. You almost can't make this up.
He had been ushered up the ranks of the police department partly through his relationship with Tom Spoda, the district attorney during the Gilgo Beach era. Spoda and Burke sort of had this symbiotic relationship. Burke had a really strong hand in getting Tom Spoda elected DA, and Tom Spoda, protected Burke. Burke is sort of this petty, vengeful figure. And once Burke is chief, he removes all of the top cops in various departments. And so that includes the chief of detectives who oversaw the Long Island serial killer case. And Burke also removes the top detectives from the investigation.
He removes everybody.
What he said was that he wanted to get fresh eyes on the investigation. So essentially, the case was starting from scratch. Serial killer cases are typically aided by the federal authorities, but in this case, Burke and Spoda took steps to keep the federal government from gaining any access to the case.
They said thanks, but no thanks. You could tell these two are corrupt.
The FBI has this sort of vaunted unit, the behavioral analysis unit, which does these profiles of serial killers, which are typically very helpful in honing in on a suspect. But Tom Spoda stops an FBI profiler from gaining access to evidence in the case. Spoda has defended it by saying, that he considered their work to be duplicative.
I think they just didn't want the feds involved. There are traditional rivalries between local law enforcement and federal agents, especially the FBI.
But the result is the Long Island serial killer case, it does not get the benefit of the sort of extensive toolkit that the FBI has in solving serial killer cases. Then in December 2012, this kind of random event occurs that would have seismic aftershocks. A low-level thief steals a duffel bag from the back of Burke's truck, and he starts going through it, and he finds sex toys and pornography in it.
Well,
This
hello.
was Burke's party bag. Burke assigns these top detectives to sort of crack this case.
Can you imagine being that thief? Oh, man. There was probably more than just magazines in there. You know what I'm saying? If that's his party bag.
Like this was some extremely serious crime. Ultimately, they do find the suspect.
They actually looked for him?
Burke shows up at the precinct where they're interrogating the suspect. He goes into the interrogation room.
Why would he even say that that bag was stolen? Is he a flipping idiot or what? You dumb. Oh my, that's just dumb. If your bag got stolen and it was your sexy party time bag, I would just call it a wash. I would say, oh, well, there goes my bag. I'm going to pretend like that didn't happen and keep living my life.
Beat him pretty brutally.
We'll beat him up.
He's shackled to the ground, so he can't even lift his arms to protect his head as they're punching it, slapping it, choking him, threatening his mom, telling him that they're going to give him a hot shot, which is slang for a lethal heroin injection. And this all occurs in broad daylight in a crowded precinct. So there's lots of witnesses. Within a day or two, the FBI launches an investigation.
They were not
When
messing
Burke
around.
learns that the feds are investigating, it sort of sets off major alarms in the highest ranks of Suffolk County Police Department and the DA's office. Burke, Tom Spoda, and other top officials are telling detectives to lie to FBI agents as to what actually happened. For the next several years, Burke is mired in this criminal cover-up, playing this cat and mouse game with the feds.
Jimmy Burke had his own life on the line, so it's safe to say the investigation into the Gilgo Beach murders during those years weren't a high priority for Chief Burke. Staying out of jail was a high priority for Chief Burke.
Years passed with so little information being released about the case that really it felt like to the authorities of Suffolk County, this was an afterthought.
As it seems like the police aren't doing much to solve this case, that's when the public steps in to kind of fill this void. And you see them scouring the internet for clues, putting together theories that involve law enforcement. And it just makes you wonder, what effect does this have on the case when you've got all these armchair detectives working on the case day and night, and it doesn't feel like the police are doing as much?
Because we do more. That's the truth. I mean, not saying more than the police. I'm just saying like more than your average news. Like, right? Like you're in a news cycle. Those people, like, you know, they are on for an hour, you know, and then they're gone. You know, Banfield, an hour. Like, you know how it is. So on YouTube, though, if there's something going on, you just keep searching and searching and keep searching for it. Especially if it's something that's just going on and it's fresh. You just keep going. You don't stop. Like, you don't have to leave after the hour or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Late
You're not off after an
2012
hour.
through late 2015, the two top dogs in Suffolk County law enforcement, James Burke, who runs the police department, and the DA at the time, Tom Spoda, they keep pressure on the detectives who are at the beating to continue to lie under oath and to lie to FBI agents as to what actually happened, that Burke had beaten the suspect. For years, the police department and the DA's office is way too distracted with keeping Jimmy out of prison and after that, keeping themselves out of prison than they are with police work like the Long Island serial killer case.
Ultimately, a detective finds God, comes clean, and Burke gets arrested in December of 2015.
James Burke pleads guilty and is sentenced to 46 months in prison for assault and obstruction of justice.
Your license is gone or
Tom
badge.
Spoda is also indicted for helping Burke cover up the beating, and he's ultimately convicted at trial.
He
But
took it to trial.
meanwhile, there's been essentially no progress in the Gilgo case, and it's all but dead.
In 2018, Geraldine Hart is sworn in as the new police commissioner.
Geraldine Hart, she wasn't part of the Old Boys Network. She also had worked for the FBI on Long Island. So I felt that Geraldine Hart would have a chance through her connections to the FBI to get this case back on track. And she did make some important announcements.
In a few minutes, I will release a photograph of a previously undisclosed piece of evidence found at one of the crime scenes.
Ooh.
A black leather belt embossed with the letters HM or WH. We believe that the belt was handled by the suspect and did not belong to any of the victims.
Yeah, it was Heuermann's dad's
Three
belt.
of the Gilgo 4 victims were wrapped in camouflage burlap and bound with tape, with the exception of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. She was bound with 3 belts.
When these photos were released, the online
Wonder
chat
who the other
rooms
2 belts were.
eating it up and trying to sink their teeth into it as much as possible. A lot of people were looking for belt manufacturers that would have been back in Long Island at the time. Knowing that this was something that was personalized, maybe we could use this to help get an identity, especially with the initials.
In 2022, there's a new police commissioner, Rodney Harrison, who spent 30 years with the NYPD.
Suffolk County's new police commissioner officially sworn in today. Former NYPD Chief of Department Rodney Harrison making it official this morning.
I've known Rodney for a long time. He was the chief of detectives of New York City Police Department. You know, so he came to Suffolk with a renewed vigor.
You have Ray Tierney, a former federal prosecutor who is now the district attorney of Suffolk County, and both of them are committed to solving the Gilgo Beach case. So a task force is formed, and it includes the state police, the DA, the police department, and the FBI.
First step for this task force is going over existing evidence and existing witness reports and other documents in the case.
If you're investigating cold cases, I tell people you don't realize that the clue is already in the case file. And sometimes you need to bring in a fresh set of eyes.
One of the key pieces of evidence that cracked this case wide open had actually been there a dozen years before. There were some new interviews done of old witnesses. One of the people that was interviewed again was Amber Costello's roommate.
The roommate describes to police that the man who was in their home was very large, about 6'4", ogre-like, with bushy hair and wearing glasses.
One other thing that the roommate remembered, the man was driving a dark green vehicle that was a first-generation Chevy Avalanche, a very unique kind of vehicle.
Them things are ugly as hell.
Investigators.
My neighbor had one. They lived across the street. They got a brand new. And me and my dad used to talk about how ugly it was. Is it a truck? Is it a car? We didn't know.
Knew for at least a decade that there were 2 key areas they had to focus on where cell phone pings were detected, connected to burner phones and to victims' phones.
Midtown Manhattan, and a very specific part of Massapequa Park, Long Island, where they felt the killer most likely lives.
Investigators then search for owners of a Chevy Avalanche who also lives in Massapequa Park and commutes to Midtown Manhattan.
They could have done that years ago.
6 weeks after the task force was formed, investigators hone in on a suspect. His name, Rex Heuermann.
And that dumbass didn't eat the pizza crust. That's the best part. Best part of the pizza is the crust, dude.
The police honed in on the man driving a dark green vehicle that was a first-generation Chevy Avalanche, and his name is Rex Heuermann.
And they're like, oh, he looks like an ogre.
The defendant also worked in the same area in Midtown Manhattan, which was the area of interest as per the phone analysis done by the FBI back in 2012.
After all these years, reporting on someone who's allegedly been evading authorities and evading us and invading the public, you want to know what made them tick. You want to know why.
Well, maybe because God didn't bless him with any eyebrows. It's a shame.
In your office. Okay, great.
In 2022, he was interviewed by a real estate person that had some interest in the job that he did.
Can you smile?
That is. Rex Heuermann, I'm an architect. I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a troubleshooter. Born and raised on Long Island.
Okay.
Been working in Manhattan since 1987. One of the things I learned from my father was furniture building.
Okay.
He was an aerospace engineer and built satellites and built furniture at home. And I still build it in the same exact workshop.
Oh, he does. He did. Look at that mansion.
Rex Heuermann
Look at that.
bought and
It
lives
don't
in
even need to be a mansion, but look at this. Look at his property. What is up with this? Like, seriously, you are an architect? If I was your wife, I would say, are you sure you're an architect? Like, I would be like, I would be questioning it if my home looked like this. What's up with all this stuff outside? Are we having a party?
house that he grew up in, Massapequa Park. That is where he spent his time with his wife and his children. Massapequa Park is a gorgeous neighborhood east of New York City.
It's a beautiful neighborhood. I mean, he just needed to reshingle that house. Well, actually, they need to just burn that house down and rebuild. But if he would have done that, I mean, it was a nice plot of land, right? We'll say that. Well, I don't know, because he had the basement stuff going on.
With well-manicured lawns.
Look at that place.
Beautiful homes.
I was going to show you on the
Everything
Google
looks
Maps.
perfectly normal.
A lot of the lawns nearby were very manicured, pretty houses surrounding his. His was considered sort of this ramshackle type house that you would not expect an architect to be living in.
He seemed to be very proud of the fact that his dad was an aerospace engineer, that his dad had taught him about woodworking, and they would do this kind of stuff together.
Looks like crap.
But then his father died when he was just 11 years old.
There were reports that he had been bullied in high school, probably.
So how much did his dad actually teach him if he died when he was 11? You know what I mean? Like,
because he was so big, and some people would call him names because of his size.
This is a guy who didn't have a lot of friends, a little awkward. We've heard this story before, right? Rex Heuermann went on to study architecture at the New York Institute of Technology on New York's Long Island.
Heuermann got his degree and became an assistant to an architect in Manhattan. And he quickly became known as a troubleshooter.
In New York, you've got all this red tape that you have to go through. Rex Heuermann was known in the community as somebody who knew these codes inside and out and could get around them quickly. The thing that's interesting about Rex Heuermann is that he is somebody that we weren't expecting, somebody that has a really good job, a good business. He has a family. In 1996, Rex Heuermann marries Asa Ellerup. The two had met at 7-Eleven on Long Island. She was an employee at 7-Eleven, and he used to go there, get his coffee, hang out, talk to her. They became friendly, and he was a frequent customer. Also has a special needs son. And when they got married, Rex Heuermann actually raised him as his own, and they became a family. It's
He
not just a
actually
gesture.
he's actually very quiet. Like, so we haven't heard a lot from him. And I felt really bad, like, when they're, like, crying on the porch and someone came up and asked him questions, and Ace is like, "Yeah," you know? But he actually, is, in my opinion, I think that he's very well spoken, and, like, in the docuseries, like, I think that he was very well spoken and, maybe just needed a little extra help, but he didn't seem like he was fully dependent. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he is on his mom a little bit more, but that might be just an enabling thing.
Commitment. And that's really striking when you take a look at the compassion that must have been given in that relationship through these many years. And then you take that counterposition of the heinous acts that he is accused of committing, and it is just two completely separate people.
Maybe it was like, "Hey, if I help you with this and we get married, you just kind of look the other way when I want to go do some of my stuff."
Part of his supposed MO is that he kills when his family is not around, whether they're on vacation or just away in general.
We all wear different roles. We all wear different hats. With Rex Heuermann, again, if he's guilty, this is compartmentalization times a million, where not only am I thinking, okay, this is my life here, where I'm playing this role as father, husband, architect, and this is my role as a sexually motivated serial killer.
I was 25. I was an executive assistant at a small architecture firm. And part of this involved taking sets of drawings and paperwork back and forth to our expediter. And that was RH Consultants, which was Rex Heuermann's company. Rex was overly confident, even pompous. He really sold himself to people as the expert. He could get your plans in front of somebody because of his relationships, even when you were struggling.
Smartest guy in the room.
And in 2010, around the time I was ready to move on from my firm, he was looking to expand part of his business and he needed some help. He said that he couldn't wait to see the look on my former boss's face when he found out I was working there. They had a somewhat antagonistic relationship with each other. That I knew, but I was not comfortable. It struck me as unprofessional. He thinks he's playing some kind of power game. And I was a sort of strange pawn in the middle of it. He also liked to say things for shock value. We knew he collected guns because he would go bear hunting. One time he said, "I hope you're not thinking about leaving. I'd have to shoot you."
He wouldn't shoot you, he'd just strangle
Something
you.
Rex would say, probably to get a rise out of you, you know. But it's a lot more serious when you consider that he may have actually been out hunting women at the time. And this is his mindset and his confidence level right around the time that he allegedly committed murder. He's not nervous. He's not looking over his shoulder. You know, he's walking around business as usual, playing stupid games. And that's really disturbing to me. It's like 2019, and I see Rex's former VP. She told me she had left the firm. Rex had just become more difficult over the years. So his former VP had started her own company.
When you have an employee who has decided, without his permission, to start her own firm, that would be, I think, just infuriating to him.
Oh, that'd piss him off.
She told me one night she was there working late. It's early evening, you know, maybe 7 o'clock. The office was on the second floor. she saw him downstairs, standing outside the office, like gazing up into the window. There wasn't really any good or comforting explanation for that. What was he doing there? They locked the doors because they didn't know what he was going to do. He wanted to let her know, I know what you're doing. I know where you are.
Hey, it's scary.
Did anybody look at him and go, this may be our serial killer right here? No. But there were certainly things about him that were off, that were scary or threatening, that things are not right with him.
Like when we did get to see him in that court like that one time, he just stood there like he does like a Brian Koberger, just just staring. I mean, and I'm not going to say that's Brian's autism, because I don't think Rex Heuermann has autism and he does the same thing. I think it's a killer stare because they're caught. They're trying to think of how to get out of it.
When the task force formed in 2022, they zeroed in on Rex Heuermann as a suspect for the murders in Gilgo Beach.
He lived in Massapequa Park and he commuted to Midtown Manhattan. He fit the physical description and he drove a Chevy Avalanche. They then spent more than the next year plus cementing the case.
When Rex Heuermann became a suspect, all of his cell phone records were subpoenaed.
It turns out Rex Heuermann allegedly used multiple burner phones to contact victims, to contact sex workers. That's how he did his business.
Then police learned that burner phones that he had paid minutes for were in close proximity to his personal cell phone and to the victim's cell phones, either in Massapequa or in Midtown Manhattan where he worked.
He kept them.
So then they had a connection.
They're pretty sure they have their man, but they need something that directly ties Rex to the victims. They need DNA.
Oh, hello, here we go.
When police were doing the investigation in 2011, there was a male hair that was found on the camouflage burlap on Megan Waterman.
With DNA evidence, especially with biological fluids, liquids, whatever it might be, blood, other body fluids, you have a chance of degrading it so much that you can't do anything with it. But things like hair follicles and all those other things, they kind of last forever.
So investigators really needed to find out if this hair was connected to him.
Is that your hair, Rex, or is that your daughter's or your wife's?
In July of 2022, investigators set up outside of his home. Undercover detectives start going through his garbage. They're looking for any kind of a bottle, anything that they can test to see if they can find his DNA. But nothing
Probably didn't throw
turns
anything
up.
away.
After 5 months of surveilling him, they decide they're going to focus on him at work and see what they can find.
So was he not throwing anything away that had his DNA on it? Like, I mean, are they really that big of hoarders? For 5 months, they didn't throw anything away? I mean, they were surveilling him for 5 months, and he didn't. I mean, couldn't get anything. But
A surveillance team was set up outside of Rex Heuermann's office in Midtown Manhattan, and that is where they started to observe him.
Well, these pictures suck. Oh, I thought they were from the actual police.
What the task force decides to do is have undercover officers pose as sanitation persons, just hoping they'd find a way to get DNA from something that he used or something he threw away.
Jackpot.
They watched him throw away a pizza box in a New York City trash bin.
The investigators immediately grabbed the pizza box. Inside the box, they found an uneaten pizza crust.
They take it out and they take a swab.
Pizza crust is what got you.
And then they send it to the Suffolk County Crime Lab to test it for DNA. And it turns out the DNA that was found on the pizza crust matches the DNA from the root of the hair found on Megan Waterman.
Ain't looking good for you, bud.
That moment was kind of the final linchpin in the case. They knew that they had a case. They knew they could tie Rex Uerman to the Gilgo Beach murders.
So they finally have the DNA evidence to make an arrest on Rex Uerman. If this is their guy, they want to get him off the street before he may do any more harm.
And anytime you have somebody identified and that person's still at large, it's always a concern, because if you do it once, you will go out there and do it again.
But now they're in a really tough spot because they have to make sure they have a strong enough case so he can't get out. So they looked at what he was doing on the internet. Rex Uerman's search history is beyond disturbing.
Especially New York pizza. I didn't even think about that. New York pizzas, okay, like New York and Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, I feel like they could be in a contest, but I love Philadelphia pizza like so much. So I know New Yorkers love their pizza. Yeah, why didn't he eat that crust? That's the best part. And he's a big guy. He's a big guy. Guess he just didn't like it.
Sadistic measures that involved children, that involved sex workers.
We read through those too.
When we look at crime scene behaviors and we see the wrapping and maybe ligatures that we find, this is consistent with somebody who would be looking at violent pornography, at domination and control, and deviant pornography.
Just
they
like
also found searches that
just like Brian Koberger. Just saying.
We're looking up the very investigation into what turned out to be him as the main suspect.
Just like Brian Koberger. Look, oh my gosh, look at this.
He really seemed to want to know where investigators were at. His searches include very specific words. A list of each and every victim that was a part of the Gilgo 4.
Rex Uerman had searched for information about the Gilgo Beach murders more than 200 times.
Wow.
The thing that sort of jumps out at you was he was also searching for the victim's family members, their sisters, and in one instance, their child. So that was concerning.
Their child?
I mean, it's just mind-blowing. This idea that oftentimes offenders are online with you. You can be rubbing shoulders with someone in a community who could actually be the killer.
Once they had this evidence gathered, they made their move.
It was a Thursday night.
Oh yeah, I like this. I like when they,
unbeknownst to any reporter in town, a team of police officers walked up behind Rex Uerman as he left his office.
Look at him, he's just walking. Look at him just walking. Not a care in the world. You're about to be surrounded, buddy. Look at him. Black tie.
They surrounded him.
Imagine being him at that moment. For a decade or longer, you've gotten away with these crimes. You've gotten away with killing these women. And, you know, I guess you know how many they have recovered because you've been watching the news, but you never knew they were out to get you. And then you threw that pizza crust away, Rex.
And they quietly told him, "You're under arrest." And he didn't resist.
I think the day after he was arrested or the day after that is when we started covering it on here, on this channel.
He seemed a little surprised, but he didn't resist.
What's he going to do? He's got all those guys surrounding him with guns.
Major developments in a decades-old serial killer case. There has been an arrest of a suspect linked to the Gilgo Beach murders from Long Island, New York. Police have not released the identity of the person they have in custody. We do know that he's in his 50s or 60s.
It felt like the world stopped.
Look at this. Look at that.
Anybody who's been following this case stopped what they were doing. What do you mean there's been an arrest? Who could it be? What's the name? How old is this person? Where does this person live? All these questions are flooding your mind. And it turns out
It's
this
this guy.
architect, Rex Heuermann, he is in custody, arrested for 3 of the Gilgo 4 victims. Megan Waterman, Melissa Bartholomew, and Amber Costello.
Rex, did you do it?
We got a glimpse of him on the news. You just thought, wow, there's the suspect. That's
how
who they've
big he
been
is.
looking for. The very fact that nobody knew that investigators were zeroing in
Regular
on
neighbor.
Rex Heuermann is really truly remarkable, considering all this investigation has been through over the many years.
The internet essentially goes insane. And a big part of that is because there was no information for so long. I mean, it was something that was unfathomable for so many people.
I just thought it was a joke. I thought it was like some kind of meme or something. I don't even know, like for a second. It's just like you absolutely cannot see that that is a real thing in front of you because it's so shocking.
When the arrest was announced and I saw Rex Heuermann, I just sort of noticed the deadness in his eyes.
Yeah.
He didn't seem that bothered. I noticed
He's not. He's been writing the smiley face killer, and they've been talking about who gets butter with their bread for dinner. He don't
He didn't
care.
say
He's
anything.
getting fed.
I was there when the indictment was unsealed and it was packed. There were a number of
Yeah, regular
victims'
neighbor with a
family
shitty
members
house.
there. Megan Waterman's daughter was there. Melissa Bartholomew's sister
This was
that got
sad.
alleged taunting calls was there. It was very electric. It was moving.
I would first and foremost like to offer my deepest condolences to the family members.
Just going back to the very beginning of when these women went missing and the very idea that maybe nobody would miss them. We've learned through the years and through the interviews that the victims' families have given is that they were very much loved. They were very much missed. And these families, they were desperate to find answers.
I can only imagine what you had to endure
Oh,
over the last decade.
So after all these years of searching, it's very possible there's finally an answer for these victims' family members. Perhaps we finally can put a name and a face to the monster that we have been thinking about for all these years.
When I first heard the case against him, this high-tech, very careful, lengthy investigation that involved DNA and surveillance and cell phone data, I was sort of struck by, there it is, right? There's police work. And that's sort of what was
look at that. It's
missing
beautiful.
from so many years of this case, was just police doing their jobs.
Look at him in there.
The state police and the Suffolk County Police descended on Rex Heuermann's house the morning after he was arrested. They were looking for evidence of more victims, evidence of trophies of the victims we knew about.
This is a search that lasted 12 days. Hundreds of search warrants were
Wow.
issued for this home. And we saw, the cameras were outside down the block watching investigators go in and out. There was a command post set up outside of their home.
I was told early on by law enforcement that Rex Heuermann was something of a hoarder. There was a lot of clutter in the house. There was
Just
a
a
lot
little
to
bit.
go through. Inside the house was this concrete-lined steel vault that was in the basement.
Okay, and when she says vault on my Patreon, that's where I have the docu-series for like the new Gilgo Beach docu-series. And this is a vault. Like, it's not just it's a vault. I don't even know how to explain it. You know, when you go into like you see an old bank vault with the spinning wheel, it's got one of those. It's like, what the hell are you putting in there? I know guns, okay, but why do we need the extra room? Why is the extra room in there that the wife couldn't go into? Why we got that? I got questions about that.
where he kept more than 280 guns.
280 guns. Who needs that many? I know that it's fun to collect things. I like to collect things. Some people like those little boo-boos right now, right? Yeah. But 280 some guns. I mean, that's a little much, right? You know what I mean? Yeah,
The
torture room.
investigators
That's
not
what I
only
think
went
too.
to his house, there were
I
at
think
least
so
two
too.
storage units that they searched. We were
I think that's where he killed him. I have a feeling. I don't know. That's where I think too.
told by the police commissioner that the search was very fruitful, but the authorities did not want to get specific.
Fruitful, that's good.
This comes as the investigation into the accused killer grows even wider across the country. Police in Atlantic City are now taking a new look at the cold case files of 4 sex workers killed in 2006.
Almost as soon as Rex Heuermann was arrested, law enforcement started looking at properties that he was connected to. Rex Heuermann had property in South Carolina, and that's where law enforcement found a green Chevy Avalanche, and that was seized by the New York State Police. Law enforcement started looking at missing people or murders that he could be attached to.
A woman in South Carolina says a friend of hers who went missing 6 years ago was last seen with a man who fits the description of Rex Heuermann.
There is still a slim chance that she could be alive.
And there are other investigations going on in places like Las Vegas, where he has property.
The cold case investigators there said they were checking to see if there were any victims whose circumstances were similar to the Gilgo Beach victims.
So far, law enforcement in all these jurisdictions haven't announced any connections between Rex Heuermann and their cases. But when you put it all together, where is that going to lead this investigation?
Creepy.
Rex Heuermann's family maintains that they had no idea what was going on. And a lot of people say that's hard to believe, but it's actually a story that we've heard before.
Heuermann's wife was extremely upset once the investigators had finished their 12 days of searching. She told her lawyers that the house had virtually been destroyed, and they released photos of the house.
And his wife, Asa Ellerup, files for divorce. There have been reports that she has been suffering through breast cancer. I mean, talk about having the literal rug ripped out from underneath you. So you've got that happening at your house. You've got the man who is providing the financial stability in your house and the insurance. Everything you know is now over.
Asa Ellerup,
She was with him for like what, 20 some years? I mean, 27 years. So you didn't know that your man was killing women? You didn't know what was going on? You never went and snuck down in that basement that he told you not to go into? In that room that he said don't go in there? That would be the first thing I did when he left. I would send him out. I would send him out of the house for something just so I could go down there and look, because I'm nosy. And if Vincent had some secret man cave and he was like, nope, you can never come in this room, I would be busting in that door. I would roundhouse kick that door right off the hinges, let me tell you.
been struggling financially, and things have been rough for her and her 2 adult kids. But
she's got the house. She's got the $1 million from the Peacock. She's going to be doing great. She's going to be doing just fine. Just fine.
tonight we can report exclusively that Ellerup and the couple's 2 children signed a production deal for a documentary about their ordeal. They're being paid at least $1 million for this.
And did you guys know that she didn't show up to his first court appearance? I don't know. It was like his first and second. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just the first. She wasn't there. She was nowhere to be seen. But after she signed that Peacock deal, this is her strutting her ass into the courtroom to support her man. Little Tammy Wynette, or whatever her name is, that singer. That's what it reminds me
Their
of. That
lawyers are
song.
getting about $600,000.
A lot of people were taken aback because you don't really hear about a deal like this all that often. And it's kind of been this thorny issue for many people because the victims' families are struggling. But the attorney for Rex Heuermann's family says they're struggling too.
Speaking of my clients and my clients only, their existence now is as bleak and as hard scrabble as you can imagine. In fact, one of the things that they're trying to get back, and they filed their notice of claim, are vintage jackets and clothes that they need for the winter. This is no joke. Their road ahead is arduous. It is long, and
They got $1 million. They can go buy a new jacket.
no matter what happens with this case, no matter if he's acquitted,
She could have been, Laura.
convicted on all counts, or something in between, their lives will never be the same.
Maybe she's the one of those running the whole deal, though. I don't know. She looks like she's pretty smart to me.
Beyond Rex's family, many people, and rightly so, believe that the focus should be on the victims and their families.
I really had no picture in my mind of what the Long Island serial killer would look like. And when I saw Rex Heuermann, if he indeed is the killer, he was so big compared to them. A lot of the victims were so petite.
They were so small. And the thing is, they were all like a year apart in age. We were going through their ages one night, and it was like literally 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I was like, what?
As Amber Costello's aunt said, these girls never had a chance.
I've cried because, you know, I've been thinking about, I think about her all the time. And for, you know, the other family members and these girls being sex workers, they're all way more than that.
If these women were college students or nurses or police officers or teachers, this may have had a different outcome in the way it was covered and the type of attention it may have had.
I think with Shannon Gilbert, though, because we didn't know about these other women at the time. And this is my opinion on this. Shannon Gilbert, when I saw her, she was a few years older than me. And I remember just thinking like how beautiful she was. Dog scratching her butt. Araya, what are you doing? Just trying to get comfortable. And I remember thinking like, she lives in the city. I always wanted to live in the city. I always wanted to live in like New York or something. And I remember like being like, wow, she's just so pretty. Like I remember thinking like first time I saw her, and all of these girls are. It's just sad that that's the life that they had to get caught up in, you know? But even if that's the case, they didn't deserve to be killed. Nobody deserves that, right? Unless you're a murderer and you're on death row.
And in many cases, these women were just trying to make a better life for their own families. And that is one of the real tragedies, because had these cases been front and center, like we've seen with other missing person cases, who knows where we would be today?
Probably have it solved. You'd be in prison.
Rex Heuermann has pleaded not guilty and maintains his innocence. But it looks like we're just at the beginning of finding out what he was up to all those years.
And nobody knows exactly what's going to happen at the trial. Will he cop a plea? Will he go through the limelight of an actual jury?
I don't think he will.
And
I
if
think he'll
he
get a
is
plea.
guilty, then the danger of Rex Heuermann, like almost every serial killer, is that they hide in plain sight. We never suspect them because of how normal they look, how normal they behave. They always have a double life. I mean, by definition, serial killers are successful because nobody suspects them.
Yep, they're very charismatic.
We were never going to give up looking for the Gilgo Beach killer.
It says, if you're just listening in, it says, since his arrest, Rex Heuermann has been charged with the murders of Maureen Brainerd Barnes, the last of the Gilgo 4 victims. He has also pled not guilty to the charge and is awaiting trial for all 4 murders. I'm actually going to give you a better update. Okay. It's better, you guys. Because he's actually charged with more now. He wasn't at the time of this recording, but he is now. So, as of December,
we're not going to stop. We can't stop. We owe that to the victims. That's the.
I'm like, what is playing? It was just like the next video. So he is charged with 7 victims. Sandra Costello, 28-year-old, killed in 1993. Valerie Mack, a 24-year-old, killed in 2000. Jessica Taylor, 20. Actually, let me do these in order, like in the order of their age. Okay, so we have Megan Waterman, 22 years old when she disappeared in 2010. I'm sorry, we have to go back. So sorry. Okay, Jessica Taylor, 20. So, okay, Jessica Taylor's 20. Then we've got Megan Waterman, 22. Then we've got Melissa Bartholomew, 24. Also, Valerie Mack is 24. So we're only missing 21 right now in the ages. Then we've got, so we did 24. Now we got a 25-year-old, Maureen Brainard Barnes. And then a 27-year-old, so we're missing 26, but 27-year-old Amber Lynn Costello, and then 28-year-old Sandra Costello. They're literally almost in order. Like I said, we've got 20, 22, 24, 25, 27, 28. It's so weird. It was like he was wanting to do the, like almost like a number, like, 20 through 28, or there's probably more than that. I'm sure he'll be even charged with even more. Casey. Tom. It's funny. Right? You should be able to do what you want. Yeah. Casey, I agree. I do. I mean, prostitution is the oldest job in jobs. And I mean, in the history of jobs. That's one of the oldest professions, especially for women. Yeah, they wouldn't earn as much. And I think that's kind of like what it is too. It's kind of like, I think part of the allure is like, you're doing something illegal, right? And you're doing something wrong. Because I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, actually. I don't know. I was going to say a lot of men, but I don't think that's probably true. I was going to say a lot of men that are probably married go to prostitutes, but I would say that's probably untrue, actually. I'd say a lot of men that aren't married go them too. Yeah, exactly, Crystal. Yeah, it's just, it used to be the only job available for women. Yeah, we couldn't do anything else back then, back in the old days. Back in the olden days. I would be like, I would just be one of those girls that were like, you better make me a barmaid and not make me do any of that. 1993. So 1993, that's what they're saying. The killings are dating back to. So, and they might even find more, after that. That's true. Yeah, Vegas, they do have that ranch. Yeah. What's that ranch called? I forget. Is it the Bunny? No, it's like not the Bunny Ranch, I don't think. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think that he just didn't get caught. I think there's more. I think there's more murders. Oh, thank you, Ace. I appreciate that. I was going to do Idaho because that's what the poll chose, but then I was like, I really want to do something different. But I do have a good show for you guys for tomorrow for Idaho. We have a new podcast that came out. I'm going to work on doing some. I'm going to try to like get all the evidence that's kind of like against Koberger and like put it into like a presentation, something that's catchy for you. Hopefully I could do all that because it's tomorrow Saturday and Vincent's off. You know how things go when you got a significant other and it's your day off or it's their day off. I can't remember what we were supposed to do. Oh, give the dogs a bath. I should have brought their collars in to show you guys. I got them so like right now they're wearing like these little flowers on their collars and it looks so cute. They look like adorable. I was going to get them handkerchiefs. I'm trying to like, spruce them up a little. And I didn't know if they would like the handkerchiefs. So I got them these fall colors and they have bow ties on them and they're like little leaves and stuff. And they're the same. They're going to be twins. They're going to match. So cute. I'll take a picture when I put them on there. They're actually sleeping in their own beds. Normally they're sleeping in the same bed together. I don't know if you can actually see them tonight. Yeah, you can see Mia down there. She's chilling. You can't see Araya. She looks cute though. She's like laying down, but she's not facing me. She must be mad. Think she's. Oh yeah, Laura. Don't worry about that. I need to take that one off. It was for like when people were going like way off of left field, and I was like, I gotta put something in Nightbot. But now it kind of bothers me every time I see it because it's you guys are usually talking about the case when it pops up. I'm like, damn it. I'm like, dang it, Nightbot. Me too, Torchy. I think there are more. Well, thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate that. I do. Where'd Mary Beth go? She eating her devil eggs? She's probably in a devil egg coma. Oh, Maga Mama. You have to do it. Get the blow up one. Have you seen it? It like you can get in it and it blows up and you could be a big old dinosaur. Oh, yeah, you. If your 2-year-old granddaughter asks you to do anything, I mean, you have to do it, right? You kind of have to. That would be so cute. That would be so cute. My mom used to say every baby, and I would be the same way, for their first Halloween. This isn't her first, but for their first Halloween, they should go as a pumpkin because they look so cute in like the little outfit. I was a pumpkin when I was 1 year old. So that would be really cute. She said they're cooling in the fridge. She's probably eating them early. I'm not a big fan of deviled eggs, but they're pretty. Like my mom used to make them for like different, occasions, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, when the family would come over and eat. And my brother loves them and my nephew loved them. And so like she would make them, for all of them because they'd be watching football. We watch football and they would eat the devil eggs. I've never been a fan of devil eggs though. But I haven't ate eggs, which is weird, in like 9 years almost. Maybe almost 10 years. I don't know why. Vincent will make breakfast every Saturday morning and Sunday morning, and he'll make eggs, and I just never eat any. I don't know why. Maybe I'll have to make him my eggs. Maybe they'll be better. But thank you for being here tonight. I do appreciate you guys so much. I really do. I really do appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming in. I know it was a different case, new case, it's not like a new case, but a newer case. If you guys are wanting to learn any more about Long Island serial killer and you can't wait for me, and that's perfectly fine. I have a whole playlist. I don't know how many videos are on there, but I know that we read through documents and all that stuff. And we'll do that again. We're just going to keep kind of like deep diving, and then we'll move on. We'll do that with a couple different cases. I want to do that with Suzanne Morphew. I wanted because I know when I was covering that last year, it was doing really well. So I need to figure out what I was doing last year compared to this year. I don't know. But if you have any constructive criticism for me to help the channel in any way, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make the channel better for you guys. So drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys want to hype this video after we're done, you can do so by just like going to the replay and sliding across, like if you were to slide for comments, and it'll say hype this video, and then that way it'll get out an algorithm even more. I'd like to see how that works too. See if it actually does help. But thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful Saturday. If I don't see you, make sure you're out doing something fun. But I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful day or a wonderful night. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up. Just like a spark that's breaking